We were in Minnesota and lucky enough to spend 3 days with some of our best friends at their home in Detroit Lakes. Luckily, they had plenty of space for Dutch, and we got to experience moochdocking for the first time. A free RV site with electricity, water, and Wi-Fi included. Our friends are very hospitable. Our amazing hosts even planned a weekend getaway for us that included the Mississippi River, boating, and fishing. We have some great friends.
We are in northern Minnesota, and we're headed to Itasca State Park. We're going to rent some bikes, do a bike trail, go to the head of the Mississippi River, and see where it all starts.
Itasca State Park is about an hour northeast of Detroit Lakes. It's Minnesota's oldest state park and encompasses over 32,000 acres. The park has a lodge, restaurant, and just about every outdoor activity you can think of. Daily rates to get in the park are just $7 per car. We came specifically to do some bike riding and to see the headwaters of the Mississippi River.
There's also a bridge down there. A half log. And you know, we're only at 1,475 feet above the ocean level, but the river still takes like 2,552 miles to get to the wow. It's quite amazing.
We got an extra family member. That's perfect. Everybody smile.
The kids played in the Mississippi River for a while, and then we got on the bikes and explored some more of the park. After that, we packed up and headed to Tulaby Lake to do some tubing. We finished up a perfect weekend by taking the kids fishing on a beautiful Minnesota night. We said goodbye to our friends the next morning and hit the trail for Bismarck, North Dakota. Chris likes history, and he got us reservations for 3 nights at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. Unfortunately, we had an issue with Dutch though, so before we could do any exploring, we had to take him in for some maintenance.
I noticed when we were at our friend's house in Minnesota that our right rear tire was on the trailer was wearing more on the outside than any of the other tires are wearing. And say 98% of the time we check the tire pressure before we take off. We have the Bi-Air tire pressure or air compressor, which is awesome, by the way. So we have that. We check tire pressure, make sure tire pressure is always good. So that one tire wearing kind of told me maybe the axle, there was something wrong. So we called ahead into Bismarck. We found this place called Mid-Dakota Wheel and Alignment. Well, they said, hey, we can get you in tomorrow, or excuse me, the day after we got here, but it'd be at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that would have like taken our one day that we had in Bismarck to kind of adventure and explore. So I called him back and I asked him if we got here early in the afternoon, if we could go to their place, see what they're doing business-wise, and see if they could fit us in. So we showed up just after noon. Went and talked with Dwayne and Neil, and they were awesome. Like, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get you in. We'll get you taken care of. So it turns out, yeah, the rear axle had to be realigned. I had them pack the bearings again, which they said were almost dry. We bought the unit used, and I probably should have gotten it checked before we took off, because we've put probably close to 5,000 miles on Dutch since we got them, and we don't know how much the previous owners put on them.
Not a lot, because we bought him in 2018, and he's a 2018.
We got in there, they took care of us, did all that. There was a couple things broken, a magnet, a clip, and some wire had come off somewhere. But they did all that, they took care of us. So if you're in or near Bismarck, North Dakota, and you got to get your bearings packed, get an alignment, anything done, go to mid-Dakota. They took great care of us.
With Dutch fixed up and ready to roll, we headed to our campground. The park has 82 RV sites. They only have water and electric for hookups, but they do have a dump station. The campground is beautiful, and at $25 a night, it's a great deal. The RV park sits on the shoreline of the Missouri and Hart Rivers, and has great facilities, and is only a short bike ride or drive from some amazing history.
Good morning from Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park in North Dakota. We are getting ready to go on a bike ride, and we're gonna go tour Custer's home and the cavalry buildings. I've got a Native American village and a few other things, but there's about 6 miles of bike trails that we're gonna get to ride around.
The park houses a reconstructed Mandan Indian village called On a Slant, and also many reconstructed buildings of Fort Abraham Lincoln. You can tour the sites on your own or pay to have guided tours. We paid the $8 fee for adults and $5 for children to experience as much as we could. The tour of the Mandan village is ranger-led, and they provide history as well as take you inside the earth lodges to see how these Native Americans lived. Then we headed out to Fort Abraham Lincoln to take a living history tour of Custer's home. The tour is meant to transport you back to 1875 and takes you through the beautiful home of Lieutenant Colonel Custer and his wife Elizabeth. This was the last home they shared together before he was killed in the Battle of the Little Bighorn in June of 1876.
Special notice of all the white marble countertops set up here. That's Mrs. Custer's personal touch to the rooms. These are the nicest rooms in Dakota Territory by far. As if this was the epicenter of the fire that destroyed the first home. Go figure, we found out that the Army contractor that built the first chimney was a drunk, and we found his whiskey bottles and the bricks and the ashes in the first house. So it's no surprise that the gas really couldn't ventilate through here. On the night of February 2nd of '74, around 2 in the morning, a thunderous gas explosion was heard across the whole fort, and the entire house was engulfed in a fiery emblem, and that basically caught up all the petroleum paper on the outside. However, though, Mrs. Custer told one of the soldiers to run into the burning wreckage to save her favorite piece of furniture from destruction. Take special notice of what the soldier grabbed and saved. This is Mrs. Custer's rocking chair, the only piece of furniture that made it out of the first home.
After the tour, we headed across the training fields to visit the reconstructed barracks. We rode back to our campsite after the tour and got ready to head into Bismarck to experience more of North Dakota's history at the North Dakota Heritage Center and State Museum. The Heritage Center opened on November 2nd, 2014, on the 125th anniversary of North Dakota's statehood.
right, let's charge this way.
Come on. Corbin's expert tractor driving ended our day and we headed back to Dutch. We noticed a storm brewing on our way home, though, and Chris set out to take some spectacular photos of the state park. The storm made for a very shaky night in the trailer, but these photos, wow. The next morning, we set out for Medora, North Dakota, and Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Thank you for watching. We'd love to share our journey with you, so hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you know when a new video is uploaded. And don't forget to leave your comments down below and hit the like button.